Well, the clock is saying 7 o'clock. So good evening, counselors, staff, presenters, the press, and online viewers. We begin tonight's meeting with the acknowledgement that the land on which we are gathered is in the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, specifically Mississauga. We would also like to acknowledge the North Channel Métis Council. We say miigwech to thank Indigenous people for taking care of this land from time immemorial. We are called to treat this sacred land, its plants, animals, stories, and its peoples with honor and respect. Prior to beginning this evening's agenda, I would ask that each counselor who is present via this video conferencing to answer the roll call when I call your name. Deputy Mayor Paula Summers.
Present.
Councillor Betty Ann Dunbar.
Present.
Councillor Jim Dunbar.
Present.
Councillor Stephen Wells sends his regrets, and Councillor H.P. Roy sends his regrets. Councillor Jennifer Posterero.
Present.
Thank you. Today, we are excited to announce that Tim's for Good, i.e. Tim Hortons from Blind River, nominated the Town of Blind River Public Works and Parks and Recreation Departments to be the recipient of their award. This recognition is for workers who make a difference in the community, and these two departments certainly deserve this award. They're out working in all the elements, keeping our roads and our sidewalks clear in the winter, and now they're getting our community spring and summer ready. They did not shut down during COVID, and they showed up each day as their services were relied upon. Congratulations on a well-deserved award, and it was nice to see everyone down at the marina today. Blind River is busy building. The new docks have arrived at the marina and they are being installed. The old docks will be traveling to Lake Matinenda to provide more spaces for our cottagers and our visitors. Just a reminder that this Wednesday, May 18th, there is a community cleanup event. Come to the town park at 6:30 p.m. and you'll get garbage bags, compliments of Chemical Corporation, and they also have gloves for people. Special thanks goes out to Bailey Mitchell and the students of École Saint-Joseph for organizing this community cleanup event. And last but certainly not least, we continue to pray for everyone in Ukraine and hope that this war will end quickly. Now, without further ado, turning to tonight's agenda, I have a motion from Councillor Betty Ann Dunbar, seconded by Councillor Jim Dunbar. Be it resolved that Council approve the agenda, the closed meeting agenda as presented. All in favor of this motion? And that's carried. Thank you. And are there any declarations of conflict of interest? Going once, twice, 3 times, and seeing none. I'll now move on to the motion to adopt the previous meeting minutes. Moved by Deputy Mayor Summers, seconded by Councillor Betty Ann Dunbar. Be it resolved that Council adopt the minutes of the regular Council meeting of May 2nd, 2022, and the minutes of the special meeting of Council held April 28th, 2022, as presented. All in favor of this motion? And that's carried. I had a few regrets, so I'm filling in spaces in between on these motions. So if you see me stumble, that's why. And moving on to business arising from the minutes. Is there anything that Council wishes to bring up? And seeing none, we will move on to our public presentations, of which we have 2 tonight, which is great. Rhonda Kirby is our first presenter on the dam campaign and the re-gravel mining in Ontario. Rhonda, the floor is yours. Welcome.
Hi, how is everybody? Anyway, most of you know me, but I'll introduce myself, Rhonda Kirby, and I'm the Northern Representative for the Reform Gravel Mining Coalition Steering Committee. Some of you may also know me as someone who is part of North Shore Environmental Resource Advocates, that community group from the Township of the North Shore that has been challenging a proposed quarry development that will, if permit is approved, it will destroy the 2nd largest documented population of Blandings turtles in the province and perhaps in the country. Anyway, I'm going to try and get this slide presentation going here. There it is. Oh, this gets a little easier every time. There we go. I'm a little sketchy on this, but anyway, okay. All right, so the Reform Gravel Mining Coalition was formed in January 2022. The founding coalition partners are Environmental Defense, the Wilderness Committee of Canadians, and the Water Watchers. So far, 38 community groups from across Ontario have joined, representing local organizations involved with gravel mining issues, much like ours in the township of the North Shore. Over 5,800 individuals have signed the petition to support the Demand a Moratorium Now, or DAM, campaign. So the issue, gravel mining is not a benign or harmless activity. It destroys the existing natural environment and can damage communities. The products from gravel mining feed highways, sprawl, and climate change, and we need to do better. For municipalities, gravel mining is an ongoing challenge. Local residents demand to be protected from the negative impacts of gravel mining operations, but municipalities have limited options. Municipal Property Assessment Corporation current assessments of gravel mines are unreasonably low. In Puslich Township of Wellington County, for example, single-family homes pay more property tax than 100-acre gravel mines. Municipalities used to attempt to control gravel mine levies received by municipalities rarely pay for the increased road maintenance costs caused by the significant truck traffic generated by gravel mines. Municipalities used to attempt to control whether gravel mines went below water level, tabled by zoning. The province now prohibits that option, but elected municipal officials are still responsible for groundwater, now under increased threat. Current proposals from the provincial government would facilitate the dumping of excess soil in gravel mines. This would create additional threats for municipalities that would extend far into the future, as the impact from any contamination could take years to manifest itself. The municipality would be left to deal with it long after the gravel operation has gone. I notice on your agenda that you will be discussing correspondence from Northern Development and Mines, and this is exactly what I speak to. For decades, the importation of materials from offsite into gravel mines has been limited and restricted to only the cleanest of materials. Now, the new regulations open the door to the importation of a range of soil types through a system that is not yet demonstrated to deliver on its promises. It is premature to make these changes and an unreasonable threat to the long-term safety of communities. If the proposed Darien quarry goes in within our township, it will leach into the effects of that gravel mine, will work its way into the Serpent River watershed. It will work its way into Lake Lozon, Long Lake, Serpent River, and ultimately into Lake Huron. The contamination of soils is a serious, serious issue. And it worries me because there are no regulations. They can change their site plans without a moment's notice. And there hasn't been enough testing to know if you have a 2 tandem truckload of soils that's being dumped into a gravel mine, gravel mine, they could potentially only test a cup of that soil. It is just very risky when we're talking about groundwater. So given all these issues, we should be attempting to minimize the number of gravel mines in Ontario. Unfortunately, the opposite is happening. The province has authorized the industry to produce 13 times more gravel than Ontario uses. Over-licensing has led to an average 5,000 additional acres of land being turned over to the gravel mining industry each year. That includes prime farmland and many sensitive habitats. The amount of land dug up each year has increased 67% over the past 2 decades. In other words, there are 67% more of Ontario scarred by gravel mining now than there was 20 years ago. All this has occurred while the amount of gravel used in Ontario has actually gone down over the same period. In the first decade since the year 2000, the years 2000 to 2009, we used on average 168 million metric tons of gravel. from 2010 to 2019, the average annual amount was 157 million tons. So we're down 11 million metric tons. Also worth noting is that the population of Ontario grew by 25% in that same period from 12 million to 50 million. So we're scarring more of Ontario, but producing less gravel. One of the biggest reasons for this is that in Ontario, we have an official government policy that states there is no need to show need for a new gravel mine. Our example is prime to that. The company that is hoping to put in this 284-acre quarry already purchases trap rock from Bruce Mines. And they have over a century of material available to them. There is no need to show need. This is sensitive habitat. We have 5 species at risk. And if you have a land claim, a mining claim, or if you buy up property, proponents seem to always be given their licenses and permits and are very, very, very rarely denied. So what's the solution? The first thing to be done is to stop making the problem worse. That's why we're calling on the provincial government to impose an immediate moratorium, a temporary pause on new gravel mining approvals, not existing operations, new approvals. Then we need it. I use the analogy of a bathtub. When the bathtub overflows, the first thing you do is you don't mop up the mess, you turn the tap off, and then you deal with the mess. And that's what needs to happen with gravel mining. And then we need to convene an independent panel representing a wide array of technical experts, impacted parties, including industry, community, and municipal voices, to chart a new path forward. One that will determine just how much gravel exists in the already licensed sites and to develop criteria to help us decide if and when new sites may be required. An independent panel is imperative. When a proponent wants to put in a new site, they hire a consulting company, and those are the only assessments that are done unless community members fork over their own savings to challenge those environmental assessments. So these are people hired by the proponent that are coming up with the assessments for the site. In addition, the panel needs to look at the ongoing issues associated with gravel mining and use today's expertise and awareness of priorities such as reconciliation with Indigenous nations to honor treaties and climate change to determine a new approach to gravel mining in Ontario. A moratorium will give us a chance to fix what's broken. It will give us a chance to bring gravel mining policy and regulations up to date with current societal expectations. There's no evidence that a moratorium will cause a shortage of gravel in the marketplace. In fact, the data we have presented indicates the opposite. Existing gravel operations will be able to continue to operate as they're currently doing. Municipal support for a moratorium, a temporary pause on new gravel mine approvals across Ontario is growing. To date, the list of municipalities who have passed moratorium motions include Halton Hills, North Dumfries, Puslinch Township, Milton, Cambridge, Peel Region, Woolwich, Wilmot, Caledon Township of the North Shore, Zora, Amaranth, Melithon, Guelph, Aramosa, Grey Highlands, Brock Township, Oro-Medonte, and Mulmar. And many more are considering the call. We're asking that the town of Blind River add your name to the list of municipalities who agree that the gravel mining industry in Ontario is broken. It's imperative to establish a pause of the scarring of Ontario in order to fix the chronic issues associated with the gravel mining industry. We ask that you join the campaign to demand a moratorium now, and please add your voice. And before I go, I would like to share something with you. I need to be able to, hang on a second, share a video, and I'm not sure if I have the option of new share.
Rhonda,
And-
if you stop sharing and then bring in your next
Okay,
video, that
stop
will
share.
work. And then
And
go
then,
back,
go-
pick your, what you want to share and then share screen
Okay.
again.
and then
And
tell,
Rhonda,
please tell me, just
make sure you have the
if you,
sound on.
when I, pardon?
When you click reshare, there's a little button you toggle over to make sure the sound comes across as well.
Okay, I'm not seeing that. A new toggle. Hang on a second, guys. Nope. Where should I see that?
It usually
Yeah.
is, it's usually in the top right-hand corner when you click share.
Okay, if I go back here. Nope. Hang on a second. Uh-oh, I lost you. Oh dear. From. Oh, if I go in here. Okay, Jennifer, I've lost you. Oh, okay. I need
I
new
got you.
share.
Don't worry.
Well, crap. If I go in here,
Jen, is it share screen first and then the sound, or is it sound and then share screen?
I'm not even seeing the share screen. If I go in here. Okay. Share screen. I'll try this again. And ooh, now I've lost it. Whoops.
Okay.
Here we go.
We're seeing you've started your share screen.
Okay, but I'm not getting share sound. Stop. Okay, I'll stop share. And then I'll reshare and go into here. Share. Oh, there we go. Sorry, guys. I know you're short of time. All right. And we'll go to resources and
we have these scars of gravel mines all across Ontario. They are everywhere. I mean, most people would be surprised to hear that there's over 5,000, almost 5,600 gravel sites in Ontario. I mean, it starts with just the scraping off of all the soils that have any capability of supporting life. The sites themselves have these things called berms, which are basically piles of soil around the perimeter of them. So you can't really see them when you drive by, but if you see this sort of strange hill of dirt on either side of a rural road, there's probably a gravel mine behind it. Even if you're not living next to a gravel mine, this issue should matter to you. The last thing we should be doing is creating more highways and sprawl, and that's exactly what the majority of gravel is used for. These are not benign uses of land. These are socially and environmentally destructive. Gravel in the ground has a purpose. It filters our groundwater. It provides clean drinking water. It helps with flood management when there's excessive rain. Pretty well every...
are you not able to see the visuals?
No, we're just seeing one picture saying support the moratorium.
Oh dear. Okay. Give
But
me-
we're hearing the video. We're just not seeing
Yeah.
it.
I don't know why. Okay, I'm going to stop share for a second. And okay. Well, okay, share screen. And I will go into
Rhonda, if you bring up your video first and then hit share screen and then hit the audio.
okay, so I'm not seeing. Okay. New share sound. I'm so sorry. I usually do this better than this. Anyway, all right. I'll try this
We're
one
still
more
at the
time and then I'll leave you alone.
Because we're still at the support the moratorium screen
We have
right
these
now.
scars of gravel mines all across
Yeah.
Ontario. They are everywhere.
No.
I mean, most
Okay.
people would be surprised to hear that there's over 5,000,
We hear it.
almost 5,600.
We hear
Okay.
it.
But
Well,
we're seeing,
nothing. Okay. In the I'm just going to leave it at that for now. I'm gonna stop.
We could
this
listen to it.
share.
The audio was fantastic.
Is
Yeah,
it?
we could probably listen. We
Well-
could probably listen to it.
I just don't understand why it won't play.
And we have another presenter in the wings,
Yeah,
so
I know.
I'm just
so-
wondering, I'm pretty sure council has a good idea. Would you be available to answer questions from us now?
Absolutely. And you have the website. If you go into resources, there's a video in there. It's 2 minutes. And also on the homepage is another video. It's our manifesto video. And the visuals on there, many of them were done at our site up here. The turtles, the maps, and the wetlands are ours. Anyway, plenty of information on that website. I'm sorry, I'm usually on the other end of these Zoom shares. So anyway, any
Not
questions?
to worry. Yes, does council have any questions for Rhonda?
Jennifer.
Councillor
Counselor,
Passero.
sorry.
No problem. Thank you through you, Madam Mayor. I was just wondering, how has your lobby organization, has it been met with positive reception with the current provincial government, or have you made any headway?
Well, and that's the whole thing. This is a provincial campaign. We are pushing hard. We have a lot of support. This is happening. Our groups like ours are fighting these David and Goliath battles all over the province, and nobody ever wins. Right now, we're in the Ontario Land Tribunal process. It's very, very frustrating. And because in Northern Ontario, so much of what we have is Crown land, even Crown land within municipal boundaries, municipalities have no say whatsoever in how these things happen. Whether you want a quarry or not, if someone wants to put one in, it's entirely up to the Ministry of Natural Resources, Northern Development Mines, Ministry of the Environment, and they all are basically they're government employees, and they dance to the tune that they're given. And some of you, Councillor Passero, I know you're a teacher, and you know a lot of times we have to put things in the education system into place that we may not agree with, but the Progressive Conservative government has slammed all doors in our face, and this is all about development. And sadly, if it is Crown land within municipal boundaries, there's no appeal process. You have no say whatsoever. It's very, very frustrating. And municipalities down south have just been pushing hard. Some of these communities are just being pushed out of the way for these gravel mines. And not to say we don't need aggregate, but the sad thing is it's been out of control for a long time. And the Aggregate Resources Act has made many, many changes. We used to have the Endangered Species Act. We pushed hard. We got the research for the Blandings turtles going. We have documented evidence that says it is the entire quarry sits on critical habitat. The Ford government has axed the Endangered Species Act, and now we have what's called a conservation fund. It's they would normally have had to apply for an overall benefit permit to show how they would mitigate or compensate the species. Now they have a pay to slay fund. That's a conservation fund. So if a company has enough money, they pay into the fund and they do their business and they walk away. And unfortunately, the Blandings turtles on the Canadian Shield, which our group was targeted, they're at risk. They're one of the 6 species that was put on that fund list. And it's been an uphill battle from start to finish. And this has been almost 8 years that we've been dealing with this quarry. But it's a provincial problem. It's happening everywhere, and people are spending their life savings and their time and their energy. So we started this coalition because we're not going to win this battle unless we join forces. And
Rhonda, we're out of time for your presentation.
I'm sorry.
I just had one quick question just before we let you go. Is the website you're referring to is reformgravelmining.ca?
Yes, please have a look at it. There's excellent information. The people, the co-chairs for this organization have been doing this for a few decades. They are amazing people, and I cannot believe, I would like to have met them 6 years ago before we started all this. I'm urging you to please put a motion forward. I mean, it's not a monetary obligation. It just shows support, and Northern Ontario needs to not be so complacent, because with all the Crown land that's around us, we have no say.
Well,
Anyway.
We are
Thank you very
hearing-
much, and I'm
We're
sorry I
hearing
was.
what you're saying, and we do thank you for coming forward with this presentation. Thanks so
Okay,
much.
thanks.
All
It'll
right.
be smoother next time.
Okay.
Take care.
You too. Our next presenter is Armin Foss on the LGBTQ plus presentation for Pride Month. Armin, the floor is yours.
Alrighty. I'm wanting to change the way of what people think of the LGBTQ plus because growing up, the world was dark upon the LGBTQ. And to me, the LGBTQ plus means a lot. And the LGBTQ stands for love, freedom, respect, honesty, and equality. My friend Kayla Lisette Mary wrote a paragraph and gave me permission to use her paragraph that may help in regards to me that's positive and would like to share my ideas for of June and all year round.
We were very fortunate. Council received your note as well as the note that you had given us permission to look at from your colleague, and it was very, very impressive for sure.
Thank you. But for the ideas that we would like to share is the lampposts and streetlight rainbow banners for June. Rainbow cross, like a rainbow crosswalk. Public transgender bathroom access. LGBTQ plus friendly business sticker to indicate the businesses are friendly to the LGBTQ community. LGBTQ education, weekly LGBTQ club instead of once a month, and funding for the LGBTQ community, such as barbecues, grass cutting, landscape, shoveling snow, Pride Walk, picking up garbage in all around town. All proceeds will be donated to the LGBTQ community fund for next year and all yearly after that.
Thank you, Armin. I'm sure council has some questions that they may wish to ask of you. Council, questions? Councillor Passarero.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Armand, for coming on. I was just wondering, looking at the list of proposed opportunities for the month of June, how many of those would be fostered by the by an organization? I was just wondering, what are your hopes for that list that you are hoping to achieve in the month of June?
I'm hoping to see at least rainbow banners or some education into schools, like because it's not taught as much in the education system, and I'm wanting to see that because when I was growing up, we didn't have that, so I want to see that may change for the greater future. Or anything like that.
Yeah, and I can, as an educator, I can definitely ease your mind in that aspect. It has gotten a lot more progressive where it is discussed a lot more openly in many of the education fields. So as you say, we can always get more inclusive. And so thank you for that. Have you touched base with the other local groups that are hoping to organize Pride events during that month?
With Jen?
There's an entire Facebook community dedicated to organizing. Yeah.
It's just that there's not much going on there. So I'm just in the works of making a club for like an LGBT club that anyone can join weekly online. Instead of once a month.
Well, I wish you all the best with that, and I hope that you get in touch with those other passionate organizers that will start the progress here in town.
Alrighty.
Armand, the town of Blind River has historically flown the Pride and recognition of Pride Month for the month of June. And I have a motion moved by Councillor Pastorero, seconded by Councillor Jim Dunbar. Be it resolved that Council proclaim June 2022 as Pride Month in the town of Blind River. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you. And Armand, we wish you all the best with Pride Month. We will, as a council, endorse what you are doing. And we are so thankful that we have you in our community and wish you all the best. I would encourage you also to link up with our local community on Woodward Avenue and beyond. And I'm sure that you will be received very favorably. So thank you again for your presentation.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
I will. Bye.
Thank you. And returning to our regular agenda, we have the introduction and consideration of administrative reports. And the first one is from our CA clerk, and I have a motion from Deputy Mayor Summers, seconded by Councillor Betty Ann Dunbar. Be it resolved that council, oh, sorry, wrong one. I told you I'm gonna get mixed up because I'm changing names. Moved by Councillor Pastorero, seconded by Councillor Betty Ann Dunbar. Be it resolved that council grant relief for section 418 of the comprehensive land the land zoning bylaw 16-49 for the property located at 74B Rocky Road for permission to expand the legal non-conforming single detached dwelling for the required 98.4 feet setback to the high water mark to allow the construction of 768 square feet addition while maintaining a 40-foot setback from the high water mark. Comments, discussion? All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you. And from our CAO clerk, and this is coming again from our public meeting, I have a motion moved by Councillor Jim Dunbar, seconded by Deputy Mayor Paula Summers. Be it resolved that council grant relief from section 418.5 of the comprehensive land use zoning bylaw 16-49 for the property located at 2279B-6 Greenery Lake Road for permission to expand the legal non-conforming single detached dwelling with a required 98.4 setback to the high water mark to allow the construction of a 320.2 square foot addition while maintaining the 35.1 foot setback from the high water mark. Discussion? Councillor Jim Dunbar.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm curious, I'm looking at the map and I think I see a road. Is that road accessible to that lot, Katie, or is it water access only?
Through you, Madam Mayor, this is a road access lot.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? And seeing none, all in favor of this motion? And that's carried. Thank you. And over to our treasurer, the investment update for April 2022. Sue, do you want to give an update on it, what was presented in our files?
Madam Mayor, not at this time. I believe all the information is there. But we are in a rising interest rate market, so we will continue to be looking for higher value investments. In fact, we are just signed the paperwork. Scotiabank has a high interest savings account that right now is offering 3%. So we will be transferring some funds into that over the next few days.
Okay. And are there any questions for Ms. Dent? Councillor Jim Dunbar?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, Ms. Dent, I'm looking at the number 2 of your attachment, and I see the NWMO community well-being, and down a little further, I see the NWMO reserve. Are those two separate entities?
Madam.
Go ahead.
Sorry, through you, Madam Mayor. No, they're not. It's just the funds are in different places. So some of the NWMO funds are invested in the GIC and some of the funds are sitting in the high interest savings account.
Okay,
It's all the
Thank you.
same fund. It's just in different places.
okay, thank you.
And are there any other questions for Ms. Dent on this information? And seeing none, thank you, Ms. Dent, for this information. It is very informative for sure, especially in these changing times. Moving on from the Director of Facility and Community Services, plant room updates. I have a motion on the floor, moved by Deputy Mayor Paul Summers, seconded by Councillor Jennifer Posterero. Be it resolved that Council authorize an amending of the 2022 capital project budget item Community Center windows to Community Center plant room updates with no additional funding required from the Facilities Reserve account. Council have questions on this motion? Councillor Posterero?
Sorry, my brain might be foggy, but I'm just wondering, so the windows that were slated to be fixed, are they also still going to be done, or they'll just be pushed for a different time so we can get this one taken care of first?
Madam Mayor, to Councillor Posterero, the latter. What we'll be doing is pausing the windows so we can focus on the plant without the electrical panel being completely functional. If it fails, we lose our ice. So we're prioritizing that, and then we'll continue to look for funding. And if there are any funds left over, of course, accomplish what we can for windows.
And are there any other questions related to this agenda item? Seeing none, all in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you. We have no presentation of our committee reports or any unfinished business, so we'll move on to correspondence. Again, from the Director of Facility and Community Service, read the Downtown Merchant Initiative Post-COVID Recovery. I have a motion from Deputy Mayor Summers, seconded by Councillor Betty Ann Dunbar. Whereas Council supports its local merchants who are working together to rebound from COVID-19, therefore be it resolved that Council authorize the closure of Woodward Avenue at Cosley Street and Woodward Avenue at Murray Street on July 30th, August 27th, September 24th, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and that barricades be supplied to the organizers at no cost. Questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor of this motion? And that's carried. Our next is around from the Director of Facilities and Community Services, read Downtown Promotion and Marketing. I have a motion from Councillor Jim Dunbar, seconded by Councillor Betty Ann Dunbar. Whereas Council has actively pursued and supported goals within its corporate strategic plan and economic development strategy, and whereas downtown is mentioned repeatedly within this document, therefore be it resolved that Council authorize a one-time donation in the amount of $1,500 towards 2 billboards that promote and support Blind River's downtown merchants. Questions, comments? Councillor Jim Dunbar, followed by Councillor Posterero.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm just curious, I guess, on the billboards, 2 of them, are they going to be situated down on the main street of Woodward? Or are they going outside of like along Cosley? Have we determined where these billboards are going to be placed?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Dunbar, these are actually going to be positioned along Highway 17 to catch traffic leaving Sudbury heading towards Blind River and Sault Ste. Marie heading towards Blind River.
And Councillor Posterero.
Thank you. I guess I had 2 questions. The first is that the one thing that was missing from here that I would have loved to see is their proof of what they were visualizing for their billboards, because they discussed that they had talked amongst themselves and had come to a consensus of their vision. So I was wishing that I could have seen a proof of what it was going to look like. The other question is, are these businesses members of the chamber? And if they are, have they also approached the chamber for potential funding for the billboards, as that's within the mandate of the chamber as well?
Sure. So through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Postrero, I'll answer both of your questions separately. The first, the proof is going to be amended to hold the logos of all of the people that sponsors. So the design would be tweaked to accommodate and add the town's logo on there. And if council would like, they can have a proof. But this is more so to find out if they should continue, because it does cost to have designs made, et cetera. So they could see how far they would get in. The second part of your question about the chamber, this is more of an ad hoc downtown group. So what they've done is come together as a collective to try and promote the Blind River downtown as a destination. So what they're seeking is support that when people are coming down the highway, they're approaching an entity. And that is why specific businesses are not being promoted on the board. For when new ones open, they're not going to be left out. And also if somebody does unfortunately have to close their doors, we're not promoting something that doesn't exist any longer. So it'll be a very neutral design that uses our black street signs, very clear wording that suits the other Blind River billboards, and draws the person in.
Councillor Postrero?
Thank you. Just a quick follow-up. And yeah, for the chamber, I'm thinking if they need more funding to get these billboards, because we definitely want to attract more people to stop and stay within our community and spend their money and time with us. So I was just thinking about the chamber as another source of funding if they need more resources, because that is under their purview, is to attract tourism and support businesses. So.
Thank you for that. Are there any other questions on this motion? Seeing none, all in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. And the next, moving on, is from the City of Thorno, Russian sanctions. And we received correspondence on this on May 4th, 2022. I have a motion from Deputy Mayor Summers, seconded by Councillor Betty Ann Dunbar, whereas the country of Ukraine has experienced a premeditated and unrevoked invasion by Russia, and whereas silence is complicity, and whereas Canada imports hundreds of millions of dollars worth of goods from Russia each year, and whereas negative financial impacts upon a country can be used as a means to deter further conflict, therefore be it resolved that the correspondence from the town of Gravenhurst regarding sanctions on Russia be received for information, that the town of Blind River unequivocally denounces Russia's unjustifiable war against Ukraine, that the town of Blind River supports the sanctions which the federal government of Canada has thus far imposed on Russia, that effective immediately and until a time when sovereignty of Ukraine is once again unchallenged, the town of Blind River will not purchase any products, in other words, plywood, fertilizer, steel, furniture, or machinery, which can be easily traced to have originated from Russia, and insist on any future contacts for services for the town of Blind River abide by these same limitations within our municipality, that upon confirmation that the Belarusian military is engaged within Ukraine, that the town of Blind River apply these limitations upon goods from that country as well, and that this decision of council be forwarded to the city of Thor and the town of Gravenhurst. Comments? Seeing none, all in favor of this motion? And that's carried. Thank you. And on the topic of the Blind River Demolition Derby Committee 2022, I have two motions. The first one reads, and this is moved by Councillor Postrero, seconded by Councillor Betty Ann Dunbar. Be it resolved that council approve the request from the Blind River Demolition Derby Committee for assistance with site preparation, grass cutting, pit area cleaned out, the bleacher delivery and removal, 5 tables, 6 chairs, 6 garbage bins, and 7 recycling bins, organization of rental of 3 portable washrooms, 2 road closure signs, 2 barricades, 2 picnic tables, advertising on the digital board, and to level out the grounds in the lower area. Comments, questions? Councillor Pastorero?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I guess my question would be, is there ask that the municipality pay for all of these items that are on their list? Or is their organization, being the one that's organizing the event, covering that cost?
And I will turn your question over to Ms. Bittner, who may have your answer.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Mayor. To you, Councillor Pastorero, historically, we do take care of these costs, and it's basically a trade for the work that committee does to make this event happen. It's an easy task for us to drop off tables and book the toilets and things like that. Public Works and Parks and Rec team up to get the pit ready, and they do a wonderful job. Typically, Public Works goes in first with their larger equipment, and then Parks does the fine tuning. One thing I will be completely transparent is historically, we've taken all of the bleachers out of Town Park to bring to the pit. However, we have spent some time painting them for the 2 fields that we've worked really hard on. So I would ask that council be okay with leaving those in their place, especially because we do have busy fields. And then the rest of the available bleachers could be brought over to the pit. And if that's something we need to invest in, maybe buying a couple new sets every few years to top up, we can certainly do that. But for this year, I'd ask for permission to limp through.
That makes sense for sure. Are there any other questions on this motion? Seeing none, all in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. And the second of these motions, this one is moved by Councillor Jim Dunbar, seconded by Deputy Mayor Paula Summers. Be it resolved that council authorize the closure of the road at the junction of Birch Street and Young Fox Road and a portion of the truck route for the Blind River Demolition Derby on Friday, July 8th, 2022 from 5 p.m. to approximately 10:30 p.m. Comments, questions? All in favor of this motion? And that's carried. Thank you. And again, on the demolition derby, we have a motion from Councillor Betty Ann Dunbar, seconded by Councillor Jim Dunbar. Be it resolved that council authorize the Blind River Demolition Derby Committee to advertise the demolition derby on the Wooden Farmers Market sign and the sign located near the truck route signs and would be posted from May 17th, 2022 to July 17th, 2022. All in favor of this motion? And that's carried. Thank you. And moving on to discussion on Rock Networks. I have, oh, I'm sorry. I have, we have Horton Township funding support for infrastructure. And Katie, would you like to speak to this?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. This actually, this resolution has already been passed by council from another municipality back in April, I believe. So we can skip through this one. It's already been passed by council.
Thank you for that. And I do have a motion on the Rock Networks Incorporated for equity investment opportunities for H&M Coffee. And the motion reads, moved by Deputy Mayor Summers, seconded by Councillor Jim Dunbar. Be it resolved that council authorize the CAO clerk to schedule a meeting with Rock Networks with regard to an equity investment opportunity in the H&M Coffee project. And I believe that would be taking place either this Thursday or Friday of this week if council is so interested. Discussion. Councillor Pastorero?
Thank you. I think you just answered my question. I was going to say, would this presentation be made to the whole of council, and if so, when?
Well, I know that one person on council would like to have it after 4 o'clock, and it would be it would most likely be Thursday or Friday of this week. And given that Friday is a sacred day at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, would council wish to push for Thursday? And can I just have a show of hands? How many would be interested in attending this? presentation?
I'm unavailable on Thursday.
Okay. And Jim, okay, Councillor Dunbar and Councillor Posterero, are you available for this on Thursday?
I was just going to ask, is it the same presentation that they've done before? Because if it hasn't changed, then my answer is still the same. So I was just wondering if it's anything new or if it's the same presentation we received before.
It is the same presentation that we received before, or a similar presentation. They are looking for equity investment in their company from our municipality.
So my answer would be the same. So I am not interested in receiving the same presentation.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Jim Dunbar
I'll attend.
and Councillor Betty Ann Dunbar.
I will attend as well. If it's on Thursday, I am not available Friday.
All right. So we will push for Thursday afternoon, and I know that Councillor Wells is busy on Thursday afternoon as well. And I can't speak for Councillor Roy at this time, but we will push for a 4 o'clock presentation and see if that's amenable to them. So all in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you. For correspondence under information on April 29th, Ministry of Northern Development, Mines, Natural Resources and Forestry provided us with information on the proposed regulations under the Aggregate Resources Act. And does council have any questions on that? Seeing none, May 3rd, 2022, the Ministry of Infrastructure gave us an update on asset management planning tools, supports, and data. I received no notices of motion. Moving on to bylaw 22-32, tariff rates for 2022. We have a motion on the floor moved by Councillor Jim Dunbar, seconded by Deputy Mayor Paula Summers. Be it resolved that council authorize the mayor and CAO clerk to sign bylaw 22-32, being a bylaw of the Corporation of the Town of Blind River, to set tax ratios, fix the tax rates, and to provide for the levy and collection of municipal and education taxes for the year 2022, was passed in open council this 16th day of May 2022. Questions? Comments? All in favor of this motion? And that's carried. Item number 16-2, bylaw 22-33, the golf course loan renewal. I have a motion from Councillor Betty Ann Dunbar, seconded by Councillor Jennifer Posterero. Be it resolved that council authorize the mayor and CAO clerk to sign bylaw 22-33, being a bylaw to renew the golf course expansion loan for a 12-month term at a fixed rate of 3.96%, was passed in open council the 16th day of May 2022. Questions, comments? Ms. Dent?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to point out that council does have the option. It was in the report that was attached. The option is to pay off the current outstanding loan balance. That amount is slightly different from what was in the report. The report was written before I actually got the renewal letter from the bank. But the actual amount of the loan, should council wish to pay it off, is $128,550.11, plus any accumulated interest from the 12th of May to the date that we actually pay it off. That is another option council can consider. I did submit the bylaw in case council wished to actually renew the loan, but you do also have the option to pay it off.
Councillor Posterero.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was looking at the different options that were there, and we definitely don't want to touch a variable rate right now. But I was definitely looking at option 1 or the paying it off option. I was just wondering if there's also, like, because I know that the golf course has a pretty healthy reserve right now. Is there an option that you could pay a portion and then also do option one, like pay down a significant amount and then also lock into like an option one kind of scenario with a lower balance? And again, that would be up to the golf course board if they want to. No? Okay. I see firm no's. All right. So is there that option that we could pay like half of it and then put a little bit into option one? Or would there be any benefit to that?
Yeah.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I don't know that there would be any benefit, and it would just delay the final decision until the next, because we'd have to go back and get those options. We have new amounts, we'll still continue to accrue interest on the outstanding balance. So I believe it would be better to make a decision tonight as to renewing the loan at the current balance or paying it off.
So what, if any, are the benefits to paying it off? Because the report was kind of alluding to the fact that option one was the best.
As I said, I included option one just on the chance that council did want to renew it, and I wanted to have the bylaw ready to go. So that was the one thing. There's not I mean, the one benefit at this time to paying it off is it is only a 12-month term. We don't know where interest rates are going. They could skyrocket even higher in the next 12 months. So we could avoid that by paying it off. Finding ourselves in a renewal option in 12 months at a significantly higher rate. But as I also said in the report, the monthly payments are less than what we're currently paying because obviously the loan balance is significantly lower than when we started the last time. So it's well within our budget. It's just what risk council wants to take as far as where interest rates might go. And my crystal ball is broken, so I can't tell you.
Councillor Jim Dunbar.
I had most of my questions answered, but just to comment, so if we continued with the option one, could we budget, like you're saying, we probably have the amount, but could we be more like budget for next year?
Councillor Dunbar, you froze a little bit during your
Yes.
question. Can you restate?
Could we think about paying it off next year and budget for it? You know, put something away to completely pay it off and continue with the option one for this year.
To you, Madam Mayor, I would say yes, that is definitely an option if council wishes to renew for the 12 months, and then we could plan to pay it off in 2023.
And that would be something that could be presented to the golf course board so that they were aware of that when they are doing their budgets in the fall of 2022. Ms. Dent?
Through you, Madam Mayor, the golf course is not responsible for this loan. This is the one that the town took back and is paying on behalf of the golf course, but it does not impact the golf course's budget at all.
Board representatives from the town will be reminding the golf course board that this is something that the town has done for them. Well, we are having other discussions, so thank you for the clarification on that. Councillor Pastorero.
Sorry, rookie greenie question. So if, for example, we paid because did we assume control of the golf course because we assumed this debt? And if it was paid off, would there then be the potentiality for the golf course to be run by the board again? Or how is that? No? Okay. All right.
The simple answer is no.
Okay, thank you.
So what I'm hearing from council is that from councillors is that their preferred option is to stay with option number one. Is everyone in agreement with that? Seeing nodding heads. So we will go ahead with the motion, and I'd ask all in favor of this motion, and that is carried. Thank you. And moving on, we have a motion going forward, moved by Councillor Jim Dunbar, seconded by Deputy Mayor Paula Summers. Be it resolved So that council authorize the mayor and CAO clerk to sign bylaw 22-34, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 16-49 comprehensive land use zoning bylaw for the corporation of the town of Blind River regarding the property located at 44 Michigan Avenue was passed in open council the 16th day of May 2022. Questions, comments? All in favor of this motion? And that's carried. Thank you. And at this time, we are looking at moving into the closed session. There are no council reports or announcements or an addendum. This motion is moved by Deputy Mayor Summers, seconded by Councillor Betty Ann Dunbar. Be it resolved that council go into the closed meeting at 8 p.m. in accordance with Section 29 of the Municipal Act in order to address matters pertaining to personnel. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thanks, everyone, and we will see you back in the open session following the closed. And Deputy Mayor Paula Summers has just rejoined. We are back in open session. I have a motion from Councillor Jennifer Posterero, seconded by Councillor Jim Dunbar. Be it resolved that council resume the open meeting at 8:33 p.m. All in favor of this motion? Thank you. And that is carried. And council discuss personnel matters of an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. In other words, personnel. And I have a motion from Deputy Mayor Summers, seconded by Councillor Jennifer Posterero. Be it resolved that council authorize the mayor and CAO clerk to sign bylaw 22-35, being a bylaw of the corporation of the town of Blind River, to adopt the minutes of the meeting of May 16th, 2022, was passed in open council the 16th day of May, 2022. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you. And last but not least, I have a motion from Councillor Betty Ann Dunbar, seconded by Councillor Jennifer Posterero. Be it resolved that council adjourn at 8:34 p.m. All in favor with this motion? And that is carried. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you soon. Take care.